Welcome to Texting 101. Keeping Him Hooked Without Trying. Written and published by Olivia Grace from Attraction Unlocked. Texting has become the heartbeat of modern dating. It's where connections are sparked, chemistry is built, and relationships often take root. But while texting might seem effortless, mastering it requires an understanding of timing, tone, and strategy. In this audiobook, we'll unlock the secrets to texting in a way that keeps him intrigued without overthinking or trying too hard. The goal isn't to play games, it's to create authentic, engaging interactions that leave him wanting more. So why is texting such a powerful tool in dating? It's the bridge between moments, the thread that keeps you in his thoughts long after the date has ended or before the next one begins. A well-crafted message can build excitement, deepen connection, or even turn a lukewarm interest into genuine attraction. On the flip side, missteps, over-texting, mixed signals, or forced conversations can unintentionally create distance. Learning to navigate this delicate balance is the key to making texting work in your favor. In this guide, we'll cover everything you need to know to master the art of texting. You'll learn how to set the perfect tone from the start, craft irresistible messages, and avoid common mistakes that could derail a budding connection. We'll dive into the power of timing, why leaving a little mystery can go a long way, and how to keep him intrigued at every stage of a relationship. Along the way, we'll also explore real-life anecdotes and examples to show how small shifts in texting strategy can make a big difference. To illustrate this, let me share the story of Ella and Max. Ella met Max at a mutual friend's party and felt an instant spark. When Max asked for her number, she was thrilled, but she wasn't sure how to keep the momentum going after their initial meeting. Ella's usual approach to texting was casual and direct, but she decided to try something different this time. Instead of sending a long, predictable message, she kept it light and playful, referencing an inside joke from the party. "I'm still not over how you accidentally dropped that plate." "Smooth move, Max." Max's response was immediate and full of laughter, and their conversation flowed effortlessly from there. Ella used open-ended questions and playful banter to keep things engaging, leaving just enough room for Max to chase the interaction. Over the weeks, their texting turned into a game of shared humor and flirty challenges, building anticipation for their first date. By the time they met again, Max was already hooked, and their relationship blossomed. Ella's story shows that texting isn't about overloading him with attention or trying to impress. It's about creating a dynamic that feels natural, fun, and intriguing. With the right strategies, you can turn a simple exchange into a lasting connection, just like Ella did. Let's get started. Whether you're navigating the early stages of getting to know someone or deepening an existing relationship, this guide will equip you with the tools to make texting an effortless yet powerful part of your dating journey. Chapter 1. The Psychology of Texting. Texting is more than just sending words on a screen. It's a powerful tool for creating emotional connections. The way a message is crafted, the timing of its delivery, and the emotions it evokes can all influence how someone feels about you. Understanding the psychology of texting is the first step in mastering it. When used intentionally, texting can spark curiosity, build anticipation, and keep him thinking about you long after he's put his phone down. At its core, texting triggers emotional connections because it plays into the natural rhythms of modern communication. Unlike face-to-face conversations, texting allows time for reflection, imagination, and anticipation. A well-timed text message can stay in his mind, creating a sense of intrigue and excitement as he waits to see how the conversation unfolds. This unique dynamic makes texting an opportunity to deepen a connection without the pressure of an in-person interaction. To make texting work in your favor, it's important to understand how men interpret messages. Men often approach texting differently than women, focusing on straightforward communication rather than emotional nuance. A message that seems playful or teasing to you might come across as confusing or disinterested to him if it lacks clarity. On the flip side, overly detailed or emotionally heavy texts can feel overwhelming. The key is striking a balance between intrigue and clarity, giving just enough to spark his curiosity without overloading him. Let's break this down with an example. Imagine you're texting someone you recently met at a social event. You had a great conversation, and now you want to build on that connection without seeming too eager. Instead of sending a generic message like, "Hey, it was nice meeting you," you might say something playful and specific, like, "I'm still laughing at your take on pineapple pizza, controversial, but I respect it." This message does a few things. It references a shared moment, shows that you're paying attention, and invites him to engage without putting pressure on him to respond in a certain way. The balance between intrigue and clarity is what keeps him hooked. Intrigue creates a sense of mystery and excitement, while clarity ensures your intentions are understood. For example, instead of saying, "Maybe we should hang out sometime," try, "Your suggestion about that coffee shop sounded intriguing. Want to check it out this weekend?" This approach is specific enough to show interest while leaving room for him to feel like he's part of the decision-making process. Timing also plays a crucial role in the psychology of texting. Responding too quickly can come across as overly eager, while taking too long might seem dismissive. The sweet spot lies in being intentional about when and how you respond. If he sends a message that's thoughtful or engaging, replying promptly shows you value the effort he's putting in. On the other hand, spacing out your responses when the conversation starts to wane can keep things feeling light and playful, maintaining his interest without dragging out the exchange unnecessarily. Now let's explore a scenario where a well-timed text built anticipation. Rachel had been texting Evan for a few days after meeting him through mutual friends. Their conversations were fun, but Rachel wanted to take things up a notch. Instead of responding immediately to Evan's last message, a lighthearted joke about his terrible cooking skills, she decided to take a brief pause. An hour later, she replied with, "I need proof. How bad are we talking? Are we calling the fire department or just apologizing to the neighbors?" Her playful tone kept the conversation going, and the delayed response created just enough anticipation to make Evan wonder what she'd say next. Evan replied almost immediately, escalating the banter with a story about his worst kitchen disaster. By keeping the exchange playful and intentional, Rachel turned an ordinary texting moment into a memorable interaction that left Evan eager for more. This example highlights the importance of creating emotional peaks and valleys in your texting exchanges. Predictable patterns can make conversations feel routine, but small shifts in timing, tone, or content can re-energize the interaction. The goal isn't to manipulate but to maintain an element of surprise that keeps the connection fresh and engaging. The psychology of texting boils down to understanding how your messages make him feel. Every text is an opportunity to evoke an emotional response, whether it's curiosity, laughter, or excitement. By paying attention to how men interpret messages and striking the right balance between intrigue and clarity, you can craft texts that resonate with him on a deeper level. In the next chapters, we'll dive deeper into the techniques and strategies that make texting an effortless yet powerful tool for building connection. From mastering timing to crafting irresistible messages, you'll learn how to keep him hooked without ever feeling like you're trying too hard. Chapter 2. Setting the right tone. The tone of your text messages is the first impression of your personality in digital form. It sets the vibe of the conversation and determines how the interaction will unfold. A great tone is magnetic. It draws him in, makes him curious, and keeps him engaged. Getting it right isn't about overthinking or trying to impress. It's about crafting messages that feel natural, engaging, and aligned with who you are. The tone you establish early on can make all the difference in whether your conversations fizzle out or flourish. Humor, light flirtation, and positivity are the cornerstones of an irresistible texting style. Starting a conversation on a playful or positive note helps break the ice and puts both of you at ease. For example, instead of saying, "Hi, how was your day?" you might try something like, "I just saw a squirrel steal someone's sandwich. Highlight of my day. What's yours?" This approach is light, unexpected, and gives him something fun to respond to. It shows that you're not taking things too seriously, creating a relaxed and engaging vibe. Flirtation is another powerful tool, but it should be subtle and natural. Light teasing or playful challenges can add a spark without coming on too strong. For instance, if he mentions he's a great cook, you could reply with, "Big claim. Are we talking culinary genius or just really good at scrambled eggs?" This kind of banter creates an air of intrigue while keeping the tone light and fun. Positivity is equally important. Avoid starting conversations with complaints or negative comments, as these can quickly dampen the mood. Even if you've had a tough day, framing your message in a way that highlights your resilience or humor makes a stronger impression. For example, instead of saying, my day was awful," you could say, "Today tried its best, but I'm still standing. How's yours going?" This subtle shift keeps the conversation upbeat and engaging. While it's important to craft a magnetic texting style, there are a few key do's and don'ts to keep in mind. Do keep your messages concise. Long, drawn-out texts can feel overwhelming, especially in the early stages of a connection. A well-phrased sentence or two is often more effective than a lengthy monologue. Do vary your responses to keep things dynamic. Mixing humor, curiosity, and flirtation creates a multi-dimensional conversation that feels fresh and engaging. On the flip side, don't overuse emojis or abbreviations. While a well-placed emoji can add personality, too many can make your messages feel juvenile or insincere. Similarly, avoid playing games or being overly mysterious. While a little intrigue is good, being intentionally vague or unresponsive can come across as disinterest rather than confidence. Authenticity is key. Let your personality shine without trying too hard to create a persona. Let's look at an example of how shifting your tone can transform a conversation. Amanda had been texting James for a few days after meeting him at a networking event. While their conversations were polite, they felt flat and uninspired. Amanda realized she had been too formal, treating their texts like professional emails rather than a playful exchange. Determined to turn things around, she decided to inject some humor into her next message. When James mentioned he was spending his weekend fixing his bike, Amanda replied, "You fixing the bike, or is the bike fixing you?" "My money's on the bike." James immediately responded with a laughing emoji and a witty comeback, and their conversation took on a new energy. By changing her tone to something more playful and engaging, Amanda not only revived their texting dynamic but also made James look forward to their interactions. Amanda's story highlights the importance of tone in creating connection. It's not about being someone you're not, it's about presenting the best version of yourself in a way that feels inviting and exciting. The right tone makes texting feel effortless, drawing him in without you needing to overthink or overanalyze. Setting the right tone early on builds a strong foundation for your texting dynamic. It's what makes your messages stand out and keeps him coming back for more. With humor, light flirtation, and positivity as your guide, you can create conversations that feel fun, natural, and completely captivating. As we move forward, we'll explore more techniques to keep the spark alive and take your texting game to the next level. If you're enjoying this audiobook so far, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. That means a lot to us. Now let's get back to it. Chapter 3. Timing is everything. Timing plays a pivotal role in texting, acting as the rhythm that keeps the conversation engaging without feeling forced. Responding too quickly might come across as overly eager, while waiting too long can seem dismissive. Striking the perfect balance between the two creates a sense of flow that keeps him intrigued. The key is mastering the art of response timing in a way that feels natural and uncalculated. When it comes to texting, anticipation is your secret weapon. Leaving room for him to wonder about your next message can add an element of excitement to the conversation. This doesn't mean deliberately ignoring him or playing games, but rather pacing your responses in a way that feels intentional. If he sends a thoughtful or intriguing message, taking a moment to craft a meaningful reply shows you're engaged while creating a sense of build-up. This pause can make your response feel more impactful. At the same time, knowing when to respond quickly is just as important. If he's sharing something personal or engaging in real-time banter, responding promptly helps maintain the momentum. Quick replies in these moments show you're invested in the conversation and value what he's sharing. The art of timing lies in reading the situation and adapting your response accordingly. Imagine this scenario. Sarah and Luke were in the early stages of texting after meeting at a mutual friend's party. One evening, Luke sent a message saying, "What's your take on pineapple on pizza? We need to settle this debate." Sarah saw the message immediately but decided to hold off on replying. She wanted to add a little suspense to her response. About 45 minutes later, she sent back, "I'm team pineapple, but I'm prepared to defend it with facts. Are you ready for this?" The delayed response added just enough intrigue to make Luke curious without making him feel ignored. When Sarah's message finally came through, it reignited the conversation, sparking a lively debate filled with humor and playful banter. By pacing her reply, Sarah created an engaging dynamic that left Luke looking forward to their next exchange. Timing also matters when a conversation begins to wind down. If the energy of the exchange is fading, it's often better to let it rest than to keep pushing for more. Ending the conversation on a high note leaves him wanting more, ensuring he'll be excited to pick up the thread next time. For example, if he sends a message late at night, you could reply with, "This has been fun, but I should get some sleep before I regret it tomorrow. Let's continue this soon." This approach signals interest while setting a natural boundary. The key to mastering timing is avoiding predictability. If you respond at the same pace every time, whether it's instantly or hours later, the conversation can start to feel monotonous. Mixing up your timing keeps things fresh and dynamic. Sometimes you might reply right away, while other times you might take a bit longer to respond. This unpredictability adds an element of spontaneity that keeps the interaction engaging. While timing is important, it's equally crucial not to overthink it. If you spend too much time calculating when to reply, it can take away from the authenticity of the conversation. The goal is to create a natural rhythm that reflects your genuine interest and energy. If you're excited about a message, don't hesitate to reply promptly. Authenticity always trumps strategy when it comes to building a meaningful connection. Timing also helps set the tone for how you prioritize the interaction. If you're always immediately available, it can unintentionally signal that you don't have much else going on in your life. On the other hand, taking an unreasonable amount of time to respond can give the impression that you're not interested or invested. Striking a balance between the two shows that you value his messages while maintaining your own rhythm and priorities. In the end, the art of timing is about creating an engaging experience for both of you. It's about knowing when to hold back to build anticipation and when to lean in to keep the momentum going. By mastering this balance, you'll make your conversations feel exciting and effortless, leaving him eager for more. In the chapters ahead, we'll explore even more ways to craft irresistible text exchanges that keep him hooked. Chapter 4. Crafting Irresistible Messages. Texting isn't just about communication, it's about creating an experience. The right message can spark laughter, curiosity, or intrigue, making him eagerly await your next text. Crafting irresistible messages means infusing your personality into every interaction, standing out with wit, charm, and just enough mystery to leave him wanting more. It's not about perfection, it's about creating a dynamic that feels playful, engaging, and authentic. The first step to making your texts stand out is embracing your personality. Let your unique sense of humor and perspective shine through. Whether it's a quirky observation, a clever comeback, or a playful jab, messages that reflect who you are make the conversation feel personal and memorable. For example, instead of replying to, "What are you up to?" with the standard, "Not much," you could say, "Trying to win a staring contest with my cat, and losing. What about you?" This kind of reply is fun, relatable, and adds a little spark to an otherwise ordinary question. Wit is another powerful tool. Playful banter or unexpected twists in your replies can make the conversation exciting and dynamic. If he says, "I'm great at cooking," instead of a simple acknowledgement like, "That's cool," you could say, "Prove it. What's your go-to dish when you're trying to impress someone?" This response not only keeps the conversation going but also subtly invites him to share more about himself, creating a sense of connection. Open-ended questions are essential for keeping the conversation flowing naturally. Unlike yes or no questions, open-ended ones encourage deeper responses and reveal more about his personality. For instance, instead of asking, "Did you have a good weekend?" you could say, "What was the best part of your weekend?" This slight tweak invites him to reflect and share, paving the way for a richer dialogue. Playful challenges are another way to elevate your texting game. They add an element of fun and make the interaction feel like a lighthearted competition. If he mentions he's good at trivia, you might reply with, "Oh really? I'll believe it when you beat me in a trivia face-off. What's your best category?" These challenges create opportunities for shared humor and playful banter, making the conversation memorable. Leaving breadcrumbs for deeper conversations is an art that keeps him intrigued. Breadcrumbs are small, intriguing details that hint at a larger story, prompting him to ask follow-up questions. For example, if he asks how your day was, you could reply with, "Pretty great. Had an unexpected adventure I didn't see coming." This type of response invites curiosity, encouraging him to ask, "What happened?" and keeping the conversation engaging. Let's look at how a clever text reignited a connection. Emily and Alex had been texting sporadically after meeting at a mutual friend's event. While they had a few good exchanges, their conversation started to fizzle, and Emily wasn't sure how to revive it. One day, she decided to take a bold approach. She sent Alex a text that said, "Okay, I have a theory, and I need your expert opinion. Is pineapple on pizza a genius move or a culinary crime?" The message was simple but brilliant. It was playful, light-hearted, and impossible to ignore. Alex replied almost immediately with, "Definitely a crime. Don't tell me you're team pineapple." The conversation quickly escalated into a lively debate, full of humor and shared opinions. Emily's clever message reignited their connection, showing that sometimes all it takes is a little creativity to breathe life back into a conversation. Emily's story highlights the power of messages that stand out. A little effort and creativity can transform an ordinary exchange into something memorable. By infusing your texts with personality, humor, and curiosity, you create a dynamic that draws him in and keeps him engaged. Crafting irresistible messages isn't about being perfect or overthinking. It's about finding small ways to make the interaction unique and enjoyable. Whether it's through witty replies, playful challenges, or breadcrumbs that lead to deeper conversations, these techniques ensure your texts leave a lasting impression. In the next chapters, we'll explore even more strategies to keep the momentum going and deepen your connection through the power of texting. Chapter 5. Avoiding common texting mistakes. Texting can feel like a dance, where timing, tone, and intention come together to create a natural flow. But even the best dancers sometimes trip, and in texting, those missteps can shift the tone of a conversation. Avoiding common mistakes like over-texting, double texting, and oversharing is key to maintaining intrigue and balance while keeping the connection alive. One of the most common pitfalls is over-texting. Sending too many messages in a short period, especially without a reply, can make you appear overly eager or anxious. This often stems from excitement or a fear of losing momentum, but it can overwhelm the other person, making the conversation feel more like an obligation than an enjoyable exchange. Texting is about quality, not quantity. A well-timed, thoughtful message is far more impactful than a string of rapid-fire texts. Double texting. Sending a follow-up message when he hasn't replied yet is another mistake to watch out for. While it's tempting to check in or keep the conversation going, it can come across as impatient or pushy. If you've sent a message and haven't heard back, give him space. He might be busy, or he could be taking time to craft a thoughtful response. Trust that if he's interested, he'll respond when he's ready. If he doesn't, it's a sign to re-evaluate his level of interest rather than trying to force communication. Oversharing is another common mistake that can kill the vibe. Sharing too much personal information too soon can feel overwhelming or even invasive. Texting is meant to build connection gradually, creating a foundation of curiosity and trust. Save deeper conversations for in-person interactions where tone and context are clearer. Instead of sharing every detail about your day or past, focus on keeping the conversation light and engaging. A little mystery keeps him intrigued. Awkward silences or misunderstandings are inevitable in texting, but how you handle them makes all the difference. If there's a lull in the conversation, don't panic or try to fill the gap with forced messages. Instead, take it as an opportunity to pause and regroup. A playful comment or a lighthearted question can reignite the conversation without drawing attention to the silence. For example, if the conversation has stalled, you might say, "I just saw a meme that reminded me of you. Are you secretly a cat whisperer?" Misunderstandings can happen easily through text, as tone and intention are often unclear. If something you've said is misinterpreted, address it with humor or honesty rather than defensiveness. For instance, if he reacts poorly to a joke, you could say, "Oops, that landed differently than I intended, my bad. Let me try again." Acknowledging the misunderstanding with grace keeps the interaction positive and prevents tension from escalating. Let's look at an example of a couple that overcame early texting missteps. Mia and Ryan had just started texting after being introduced by mutual friends. Mia was excited about their conversations but found herself overthinking every message. One evening, after Ryan took a few hours to reply, Mia sent a follow-up text asking if she'd said something wrong. Ryan reassured her that he'd been caught up with work, but the exchange left Mia feeling self-conscious. Determined to adjust her approach, Mia decided to scale back. Instead of over-analyzing and double-texting, she focused on crafting thoughtful, engaging messages and giving Ryan space to respond on his own time. When awkward silences occurred, she didn't rush to fill them. Instead, she waited for natural opportunities to re-engage. Over time, Ryan started initiating more conversations and matching Mia's energy, and their connection deepened. Mia's story highlights the importance of self-awareness and restraint in texting. By recognizing her habits and adjusting her approach, she was able to create a dynamic that felt balanced and enjoyable for both her and Ryan. Avoiding common texting mistakes is about being mindful of how your messages are received and finding a rhythm that works for both of you. Texting should feel effortless and fun, not stressful or forced. By avoiding over-texting, double-texting, and oversharing, and by handling silences or misunderstandings with grace, you can maintain the intrigue and connection that keep him hooked. In the next chapters, we'll explore even more ways to refine your texting style and deepen the emotional connection through every exchange. Chapter 6. Texting through different stages of a relationship. Texting is an evolving art, and as your relationship progresses, so should your approach. What works in the initial, getting to know you, phase might feel superficial or insufficient in a long-term relationship. Understanding how to adapt your texting style as the connection deepens is key to maintaining excitement, intimacy, and emotional connection at every stage. In the early days of a relationship, texting is all about building intrigue and rapport. This is when playful banter, light flirtation, and curiosity shine. Messages should feel engaging but not overwhelming, creating a sense of excitement and anticipation. Open-ended questions like, "What's one thing you've always wanted to try but haven't yet?" Or playful comments like, "So, do you have any embarrassing childhood nicknames? Or am I the only one cursed with that?" Invite him to open up without putting him on the spot. During this phase, balance is crucial. Over-texting or being too available can dilute the excitement, while being too aloof might make you seem disinterested. The goal is to keep the conversation flowing naturally while maintaining a sense of mystery. Respond promptly when the conversation is engaging but avoid feeling pressured to reply instantly to every message. Building a connection takes time, and texting in this phase is about creating moments that leave him curious and looking forward to more. As the relationship deepens, your texting dynamic should reflect the growing trust and comfort between you. This is when deeper conversations and meaningful topics can start to take center stage. Instead of focusing solely on lighthearted banter, you can introduce more personal questions or share insights about yourself. For instance, you might ask, "What's something that's shaped the person you are today?" Or share a moment from your day that meant something to you. These messages show that you're interested in knowing him on a deeper level while encouraging him to share more of himself. In established relationships, texting often becomes less about creating intrigue and more about maintaining connection. Life gets busy, and texting becomes a tool to show care, check in, and remind each other of your bond. Simple messages like, "Thinking of you," "Hope your meeting goes well," or "Can't wait to hear about your day later," go a long way in keeping the relationship warm and connected. These small gestures may seem insignificant, but they reinforce your presence in each other's lives, even when you're apart. Introducing meaningful or serious topics over text requires tact and timing. While some conversations are better suited for face-to-face discussions, texting can be a helpful way to initiate or set the stage for deeper dialogues. For example, if you've noticed something on your mind, you might say, "I've been thinking about something important, and I'd love to talk about it when we have time. Are you open to that?" This approach acknowledges the importance of the topic while respecting the limitations of texting as a medium. At the same time, texting should never feel like a substitute for meaningful in-person conversations. It's a tool to complement and enhance your relationship, not replace deeper forms of connection. Avoid using text to resolve major conflicts or express complex emotions that could be misinterpreted. Instead, use it to express support, appreciation, or curiosity that can pave the way for in-depth discussions later. Let's explore an anecdote that highlights the power of thoughtful texting in a long-term relationship. Julia and Mark had been together for 6 years, and while their relationship was strong, they both felt that the spark had dimmed over time. With busy work schedules and the demands of daily life, their texting had become routine and transactional. Things like, "Can you pick up milk?" or "What time will you be home?" dominated their conversations. One day, Julia decided to change things up. Instead of her usual, "Good morning," text, she sent Mark a message that read, "Remember that road trip to the mountains? I found our old playlist and couldn't stop smiling. Let's plan another adventure soon." Mark responded enthusiastically, and their conversation quickly shifted from logistics to reminiscing about shared memories and planning new ones. Julia's thoughtful message reignited their texting dynamic, reminding Mark of the connection they shared. From that day on, they made a conscious effort to include more meaningful and playful messages in their daily exchanges. A simple, "I miss your laugh," or "I'm so proud of you for crushing that presentation," became small but powerful ways to show love and appreciation. These changes deepened their connection and brought a renewed sense of closeness to their relationship. Julia and Mark's story illustrates how adapting your texting style to the stage of your relationship can breathe new life into your connection. Whether you're just getting to know someone or you've been together for years, thoughtful and intentional texting keeps the relationship vibrant and meaningful. Texting isn't just a means of communication, it's a reflection of your relationship's growth and evolution. By adapting your messages to suit each stage, you can create a dynamic that feels natural, engaging, and deeply connected. In the next chapters, we'll explore more ways to keep the spark alive through texting, no matter where you are in your relationship journey. Chapter 7. Reading Between the Lines. Texting is as much about what's left unsaid as it is about the words themselves. Interpreting his texts and understanding his communication style can help you gauge his interest level and navigate the natural ebbs and flows of a connection. While texts provide a window into his thoughts, they can also leave room for misinterpretation. Learning to read between the lines without overanalyzing is key to maintaining clarity and confidence. One of the first steps in interpreting his texts is observing patterns. Is he consistent in his replies, or does his interest seem to fluctuate? Does he respond with enthusiasm, or are his messages brief and disengaged? While a single text might not tell you much, his overall texting behavior reveals a lot about his level of interest. A man who is genuinely interested will typically maintain consistent communication and show curiosity about your life and thoughts. On the other hand, sporadic or vague responses might indicate lukewarm interest or a busy schedule. Recognizing mixed signals can be tricky, but they often arise from uncertainty or a lack of alignment in communication styles. For example, he might send playful or engaging texts one day but go silent the next. While it's easy to assume the worst, mixed signals don't always mean he's losing interest. Sometimes, they're a reflection of his mood, external stressors, or even hesitation about how to express himself. The key is to step back and assess his actions as a whole rather than fixating on isolated messages. Understanding his communication style is another important piece of the puzzle. Some men are naturally expressive and enjoy texting as a way to stay connected, while others see it as a functional tool rather than a primary mode of interaction. If he's not much of a texter but shows consistent effort in person, it's likely not a reflection of his feelings but rather his preference for face-to-face connection. Acknowledging these differences helps you avoid misinterpreting his intentions. When he pulls back or goes silent, it can feel frustrating and even hurtful, but it's important to handle these moments with patience and perspective. Silence doesn't always mean disinterest. It could mean he's busy, distracted, or processing his thoughts. Instead of jumping to conclusions or sending multiple follow-up messages, give him space to come back naturally. If his silence persists, a gentle nudge like, "Hey, haven't heard from you in a bit. Hope everything's okay," can open the door without putting pressure on him. At the same time, it's essential to maintain your own boundaries and self-respect. If he consistently pulls back without explanation or leaves you feeling uncertain about where you stand, it's worth considering whether his behavior aligns with what you want in a relationship. Communication should feel reciprocal and fulfilling, not like a constant guessing game. Let's look at an example of someone who learned to navigate hot and cold behavior through text. Emily had been texting Rob for a few weeks after they met through mutual friends. Initially, their conversations were lively and engaging, but over time, Rob's responses became sporadic. He'd send thoughtful texts one day and then disappear for days without explanation. Emily found herself overthinking every message, wondering if she'd said something wrong. Instead of confronting Rob immediately, Emily decided to adjust her approach. She matched his energy, responding promptly when he was engaged but giving him space when he pulled back. When Rob went silent for a few days, Emily resisted the urge to double text and instead focused on her own life, staying busy and maintaining her independence. Eventually, Rob reached out with an apology for being distant, explaining that work had been overwhelming. By not chasing him or overreacting, Emily created space for Rob to come back on his own terms. Through this experience, Emily realized the importance of balancing patience with self-worth. She learned to interpret Rob's actions without taking them personally and to focus on maintaining her own sense of confidence. Over time, their conversations regained momentum, and Rob became more consistent in his communication. Emily's story highlights the value of staying grounded and avoiding overanalysis. Reading between the lines doesn't mean assuming the worst. It means observing patterns, understanding context, and responding with confidence and grace. By focusing on his overall behavior rather than individual texts, you can gain a clearer picture of his interest level and intentions. In the end, texting is just one aspect of communication. While it provides valuable insights, it's important not to let it overshadow other forms of connection. By learning to interpret his texts without overanalyzing, recognizing mixed signals for what they are, and handling silence with patience and self-respect, you can navigate the subtleties of texting with confidence. This approach not only strengthens your connection but also reinforces your own sense of empowerment in the relationship. If you're enjoying this audiobook so far, Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. That means a lot to us. Now let's get back to it. Chapter 8. Creating Emotional Chemistry. Emotional chemistry is the secret ingredient that transforms surface-level conversations into deep, meaningful connections. While many people think chemistry develops only in person, texting can play a powerful role in building emotional intimacy and trust. Through thoughtful messages, storytelling, and shared moments, you can create a bond that feels authentic and magnetic, even from a distance. Building emotional intimacy through texting starts with vulnerability. Sharing small but meaningful pieces of yourself creates a sense of openness that invites him to do the same. This doesn't mean spilling your life story all at once. It's about weaving in personal insights or experiences naturally. For example, if he asks about your weekend, instead of replying with a generic, "It was good," you might say, "I went hiking and stumbled across this quiet little lake. It reminded me of how much I love those peaceful moments in nature." This kind of reply reveals something about your personality while encouraging him to share his own experiences. Storytelling is another powerful tool for creating emotional chemistry. A well-told story draws him into your world and makes your texts feel rich and engaging. It could be a funny memory, a lesson you learned, or a moment that shaped you. For instance, if you're talking about favorite childhood memories, you might say, "One summer, my cousins and I built a treehouse. It was a total disaster. It rained, the roof leaked, and we ended up sitting under umbrellas inside. But I've never laughed so hard in my life." Stories like this not only entertain but also give him a glimpse into your life, making the connection feel deeper. Shared moments, whether they're real or created through texting, strengthen bonds by giving you both something unique to hold onto. This could be as simple as referencing an inside joke, reminiscing about a shared experience, or even creating virtual traditions. For example, you could start a habit of sending a funny meme every Friday or sharing something you're grateful for each evening. These small rituals add layers to your connection and make your conversations feel special. Compliments and affirmations are another way to build emotional trust. While grand declarations aren't necessary, small, thoughtful compliments can go a long way in making him feel appreciated. For example, if he shares something he's proud of, you might say, "I love how passionate you are about what you do. It's inspiring." Similarly, affirming his qualities, like his sense of humor or thoughtfulness, shows that you're paying attention and value who he is. These subtle acknowledgments build confidence and strengthen your bond. Subtle hints and playful teasing also add depth to your texts. Hints about future plans, like, "I think you'd love this coffee shop I found. Maybe I'll take you there one day," create anticipation and give him something to look forward to. Teasing in a lighthearted way, like calling him out for his cheesy jokes, keeps the tone fun and engaging while building rapport. Let's explore an anecdote that highlights how emotional chemistry can blossom through texting. Claire and Ben lived in different cities when they met through mutual friends. With limited opportunities to meet in person, texting became the foundation of their connection. Claire quickly realized that small, meaningful texts could create a sense of closeness despite the distance. She shared funny stories from her day, asked Ben about his, and found ways to show appreciation for his sense of humor and kindness. One evening, Ben sent Claire a photo of his dog curled up on the couch, saying, "This guy has had a tougher day than me." Instead of just responding with a laugh, Claire replied, "You both deserve a chill night. What's the best way to spoil him? Snacks, belly rubs, or Netflix?" This reply wasn't just playful. It showed interest in Ben's life and sparked a longer conversation about their shared love for animals. Over time, their texts became more personal. Claire shared how her dog helped her through tough times, and Ben opened up about a childhood memory of getting his first puppy. These moments deepened their connection, and the trust they built through texting carried over when they finally met in person. Claire and Ben's relationship continued to grow, and they often joked that their texting chemistry was the foundation of their bond. This story illustrates how thoughtful, intentional texting can create emotional chemistry that feels genuine and lasting. By sharing stories, creating shared moments, and offering compliments and affirmations, Claire and Ben built a connection that went beyond surface-level interactions. Creating emotional chemistry through texting isn't about trying too hard or forcing intimacy. It's about being authentic, present, and intentional. Thoughtful messages that reflect your personality, curiosity, and appreciation build a sense of trust and connection. By using storytelling, shared moments, and subtle hints to strengthen your bond, you can create a dynamic that feels natural and deeply fulfilling. As we move forward, we'll explore even more ways to keep your texting game strong, no matter where your relationship takes you. Chapter 9. The Power of Playfulness. Playfulness is the secret sauce that keeps texting fun, engaging, and irresistibly magnetic. Injecting humor and lightheartedness into your conversations not only makes you stand out but also creates a connection that feels effortless and exciting. Playfulness builds a sense of comfort and intrigue, making him look forward to every text exchange. When done right, it can keep him hooked without ever feeling forced or calculated. Humor is a fantastic way to break the ice and add energy to a conversation. It doesn't need to be elaborate. Sometimes a witty one-liner or a playful response is enough. If he says something like, "I'm terrible at directions," you could reply, "Good thing I'm great at reading maps. Teamwork makes the dream work." These lighthearted exchanges show that you don't take yourself too seriously, making your texts a breath of fresh air in his day. Fun games and playful challenges are another way to elevate your texting game. For example, you could start a "two truths and a lie" game, asking him to guess which statement about you isn't true. This not only creates an opportunity for humor but also sparks curiosity and gives him a reason to engage more deeply. Another idea is to use emojis creatively, like sending a string of emojis to represent a movie title and asking him to guess what it is. These games add an interactive element to your texts, keeping the conversation dynamic and entertaining. Emojis, when used sparingly and thoughtfully, can enhance the playful tone of your messages. A well-placed emoji can add warmth, humor, or context to a text, making it feel more engaging. For instance, if you're teasing him about his favorite sports team, adding a laughing face or a winking emoji softens the tone and makes your message feel lighthearted. However, overusing emojis or relying on them to carry the conversation can dilute their impact, so use them as an accent rather than the main feature. While playfulness is a powerful tool, it's essential to avoid sarcasm or jokes that could be misinterpreted. Sarcasm can easily come across as criticism or disinterest, especially in text where tone isn't always clear. If you're unsure whether a joke will land well, it's better to lean toward humor that's warm and inclusive rather than sharp or potentially offensive. The goal is to make him feel good and engaged, not confused or alienated. Let's look at an example of how playfulness turned a conversation into a memorable date. Jessica and Matt had been texting for a few days after meeting on a dating app. Their conversations were pleasant but lacked a spark. Determined to make things more fun, Jessica decided to send Matt a playful challenge. "Quick, what's your best pickup line? Bonus points if it's terrible." Matt replied with a hilariously cheesy line. "Are you a magician? Because every time I look at my phone, you appear." Jessica laughed and responded, "Wow, that was so bad it might have worked on me. Your prize is a coffee date, if you can guess my go-to drink." The playful back and forth not only added humor to their interaction but also set the stage for a real-life meet-up. When they finally went on their coffee date, the light-hearted tone from their texts carried over, making their connection feel natural and effortless. Jessica's story highlights the power of playfulness in creating memorable moments. By using humor and a playful challenge, she turned an ordinary text exchange into something exciting, building anticipation for their first date. This approach shows that playfulness isn't just about making someone laugh. It's about creating an emotional experience that draws him in. The beauty of playfulness lies in its versatility. It works whether you're in the early stages of getting to know someone or deepening an existing relationship. A playful tone makes your conversations feel like an escape from the ordinary, a place where he can relax, have fun, and enjoy your company. Remember, playfulness isn't about trying too hard or forcing humor. It's about letting your natural sense of fun and creativity shine through. By injecting lightheartedness, humor, and a sense of adventure into your texts, you can create a connection that feels vibrant and alive. Whether it's through clever comebacks, interactive games, or playful teasing, the power of playfulness is one of the most effective ways to keep him hooked while staying true to yourself. Chapter 10. Knowing when to step back. In the world of texting, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement of a connection and invest more energy than the other person is giving. But recognizing when to step back is just as important as knowing when to lean in. Over-investing in texting can lead to an imbalance in the dynamic, making the conversation feel one-sided and potentially diminishing his interest. Learning to create healthy boundaries while staying intriguing is key to maintaining mutual respect and attraction. One of the first signs that you might be over-investing in texting is if you find yourself always initiating conversations, sending multiple follow-ups, or overthinking every reply. While enthusiasm is great, constantly being the one to drive the interaction can create an uneven dynamic where he starts to take your efforts for granted. Texting should feel reciprocal, with both people contributing equally to the flow of the conversation. Stepping back doesn't mean ignoring him or playing games. It's about resetting the balance. If you notice that you're putting in more effort than he is, pause and give him the space to re-engage on his own. This allows him to take the lead, showing you whether he's genuinely interested in maintaining the connection. Sometimes, giving someone room to miss you can reignite their curiosity and investment. Creating healthy boundaries is essential for staying intriguing without overextending yourself. Start by prioritizing your own life and interests instead of being constantly available. If he texts while you're busy, it's okay to wait until you're free to reply. This not only prevents you from dropping everything for him but also shows that you have a full and interesting life outside of your connection. Maintaining this sense of independence makes you more attractive and gives him something to admire. Another important aspect of stepping back is recognizing when the dynamic feels unbalanced. If you're consistently over-explaining, apologizing for delayed responses, or trying too hard to keep the conversation alive, it's time to take a step back and evaluate. Healthy texting dynamics are about mutual effort, not chasing or overcompensating. Allowing him to contribute more creates a sense of balance and ensures that the connection feels natural rather than forced. Sometimes, stepping back can have the unexpected effect of making him more invested. When you give him space, he has the opportunity to reflect on the connection and take action to keep it alive. For example, if you've been texting frequently and you suddenly become less available, he might start to wonder what's changed and make more of an effort to re-engage. This isn't about playing hard to get, it's about allowing the dynamic to shift naturally in a way that fosters mutual interest. Let's look at an anecdote that illustrates this concept. Rachel and Josh had been texting regularly after meeting at a friend's party. At first, their conversations were engaging and fun, but Rachel began to notice that she was always the one initiating. When Josh did reply, his responses felt brief and disengaged. Frustrated but determined to reset the dynamic, Rachel decided to take a step back. Instead of texting Josh as often, Rachel focused on her own life, spending time with friends, pursuing hobbies, and staying busy with work. A few days later, Josh sent her a message asking why he hadn't heard from her. Rachel replied warmly but briefly, saying, "Just been caught up with things. How have you been?" Her reply was friendly but didn't overcompensate or seek validation. Josh's tone shifted immediately. He started initiating more conversations, asking about Rachel's day, and putting effort into keeping their connection alive. By stepping back, Rachel gave Josh the space to realize he missed her presence and take action to restore balance in their dynamic. Rachel's experience highlights the power of stepping back to re-establish mutual effort and interest. When you're no longer over-investing, you create room for the other person to step up and show their commitment. This not only rebalances the relationship but also strengthens your sense of self-worth and confidence. The key to stepping back is doing so with grace and authenticity. It's not about manipulation or playing games, it's about prioritizing your own well-being and allowing the connection to unfold naturally. Texting should enhance your life, not consume it. By creating healthy boundaries and knowing when to take a step back, you maintain your independence and keep the dynamic fresh and intriguing. In the end, relationships thrive on balance and reciprocity. Stepping back when necessary isn't about pulling away, it's about creating space for both people to contribute equally. When you focus on maintaining your own sense of self while allowing him to invest in the connection, you build a foundation of mutual respect and attraction that keeps the relationship strong and fulfilling. Texting might seem like a small part of modern relationships, but as we've explored throughout Texting 101, keeping him hooked without trying, it's a tool that can create lasting emotional connections when used intentionally. By understanding the psychology of texting, setting the right tone, and crafting irresistible messages, you can transform a simple conversation into something magnetic and meaningful. These strategies aren't about playing games, they're about mastering the art of communication in a way that feels effortless and authentic. We've covered how timing and playfulness can build anticipation, how compliments and storytelling deepen emotional bonds, and how stepping back can reset the balance in a relationship. Each principle boils down to one key idea: texting should feel natural, enjoyable, and reflective of who you are. It's not about perfect phrasing or overthinking every reply. It's about creating a dynamic that keeps both of you engaged and excited. Authenticity is the heart of great texting. While it's tempting to follow rigid rules or mimic someone else's style, the most powerful messages come from a place of genuine connection. Your quirks, humor, and unique perspective are what make you memorable. By staying true to yourself while keeping things light and engaging, you not only capture his attention but also lay the groundwork for a real, lasting bond. At the same time, keeping things exciting means embracing a sense of fun and spontaneity. Texting is a playground for shared moments, playful banter, and inside jokes that build intimacy over time. It's not just about maintaining a spark, it's about building a fire that grows stronger with every interaction. Whether you're sharing a clever response, starting a lighthearted game, or simply checking in with a thoughtful message, your effort shows care and interest without feeling overbearing. Effortless texting isn't about trying harder, it's about communicating smarter. By understanding the balance between intrigue and clarity, independence and connection, you can navigate any texting situation with confidence. Whether you're just getting to know someone or deepening an established relationship, these principles guide you toward conversations that feel natural and fulfilling. Remember, texting is only one part of the relationship puzzle. It sets the stage, sparks curiosity, and keeps the connection alive between moments, but it's the in-person interactions that truly solidify the bond. Think of texting as the thread that ties those in-person moments together, creating continuity and keeping the energy alive. As you move forward, embrace texting as a tool for connection, not a source of stress. Trust your instincts, enjoy the process, and let the conversation unfold naturally. By staying authentic and bringing your unique charm to every exchange, you'll create a dynamic that's exciting, meaningful, and unforgettable. In the end, effortless texting isn't just about keeping him hooked. It's about fostering a connection that feels genuine and mutual. With the strategies you've learned here, you're well equipped to navigate the complexities of texting with confidence and creativity. So go ahead, send that message, and watch how something as simple as a text can pave the way for deeper, lasting relationships. The power is in your hands, literally. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found this audiobook valuable, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Take care and see you on the next one.